Max has been presenting here this afternoon. He's to the Institute of Network Cultures in Amsterdam. He's now going to give a presentation of a project which has been partially presented already this afternoon as well by someone else. But maybe I could challenge him and surprise him with an extra question. Since you are the last speaker, you told me we were quite polite as a symposium. Maybe you were saying that. No. Maybe you could come a final statement as a conclusion at the end.
Bastard.
Okay.
What's the password? Okay, well, maybe I'll just skip to the final statement. Does anyone know the password for this Apple Mac? Or maybe you don't want to say it out loud.
Yes. And then
sorry.
you need to set up. Where is your?
Oh, it's on this flash drive.
Oh, I don't see it.
Okay, great. Yeah, as said, that this project was mentioned by Chris Speed earlier. It's called Handfastr. It was made in a very quick workshop. So I'll be very quick because I know that everyone's a little bit tired. It was made, Chris came to Amsterdam and we did a workshop which used his geoapplication, which allows you to make blockchain transaction using GPS locations. So what he was describing as body storming and being in space in the city. So how could you move or circulate money around public space? He showed this demo earlier where you had money deposits outside Allen, or you could get taxed by walking near the hospital, for example. So he'd already kind of implemented tools to this gamified blockchain urban city game. And then we had to come in our own rules or our own version on this platform. So yeah, these are the hotspots where you can earn Bitcoin credits essentially, or currency. And we started unpacking it and looking at this form of contract, which is the marriage, happens in many societies and religions for many different reasons. And if you boil down all the side effects, it is a bond, it's a contract between two people, sometimes done for various different reasons. Sometimes you have shams, people just getting married for visas, which is also quite useful. So we wanted to just imagine a marriage on the blockchain and a smart contract binding between two people to then share their funds together. So that was our starting point. So you're out in the city and you join your wallets or bind your coin addresses into one common fund that could only be spent when you were physically in space. So it kind of created this geolocative, maybe even geopolitical economic zone, which could be quite restricting. It could be quite rewarding. We hadn't really thought about how people would use it. We were thinking a lot about all the tourists or stag or parties you get in Amsterdam, and how maybe they could just all have a common collect, would all get married for a couple of hours basically and spend from a shared wallet. But then you could also open this up, like this idea of communities, to housing organizations, cooperatives. It could be more than an idea, which is what the wedding sham is kind of just a novelty contract, which I think shows its difficulty in some way. Like to be physically, to have money or an economic bond tied down to a place could also be enforced via GPS satellites is quite an interesting predicament. But yeah, why just keep it between two people? You could also have groups of people so that, say, all of us could only spend from our 𝕒𝕒𝕗𝕗 pot of money. We're all here, for example. That way, you know, no one would be spending the money out a bit like a local currency, be a way to keep the money in a circular economy. I had quite a very small part to play. There was many of us in this workshop, so it was like a sprint project. And Chris Speed has now developed it so that you can kind of get married whenever you like on the chain. Yeah, and that's that. I told you I'd be quick. And you want me to do some closing thoughts on the whole day? Yeah, I mean, it's been a real showcase of different experiments. I think what I picked up on was especially in part, was the environmental connection, which I think is quite 𝕤𝕗𝕦𝕝𝕝's project there, and others which all connect with deforestation and urgent environmental issues. And it brings this quite abstracted typical framework of all the schematics and all the blockchain visualizations and metaphors about how works with all our environmental crises, and kind of brings them together in these artworks, which I think is really nice and helpful. Yeah, but then let's see where these experiments feel like there's so much speculative design, this included, where artists and designers, I feel, are being encouraged to develop and explore in this space without really knowing why particularly. There's a kind of an urgency to explore the blockchain space and decentralization. That's a bit what I talked about earlier, this encouragement to proactively contribute into this field, when I think there's some political dilemmas behind it, which I think we've addressed today a little bit. But that I would just urge that isn't left out of the conversation. And then we're not just really making decentralized apps for the sake of technological innovation. That would be the main concluding thought. Thanks.